when it comes to the barbecue, it's just a method of cooking, literally, and it's
Right.
literally a Taino word. Like barbacoa comes from the Taino language, 100%. There's basically it all started with cooking directly, and then we bring some instruments into it, and then that way you're protecting your food a little bit more. My grandmother in Dominican Republic, she ran like what they call a fonda, like a cafeteria type of place where workers go in between and get cheap food, like rice and beans and like fried stuff. But the cuisine that she did was very I don't want to say ancestral, but that's really kind of what it is. The specialty of the house was this thing called catilla, which is yuca is very central to if we have to go back to what was here before Spain came into the islands. Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Cuba, the main sustenance is, I mean, there were no coconuts either. So the main sustenance tended to be like fish and a lot of yuca. Everything else came in Spain, like the pigs, the coconuts, like I said, all that stuff came with. So there was very little here on the island, but so it was used abundantly. So that's where we get the casabe, which is kind of like the flat bread that you see a lot in Latin cultures. And then they develop ways to incorporate in it with other stuff, and then that's when they start adding, the pork came into the mix. But that's just like what happened when everybody like got together, and the Africans came in with the plantains, and we embraced that as well, and like okra and all these other ingredients that came on the road. But if we go to like strip it all down, it all comes down to yuca. And in my family, that's something that I love talking to like my mom and my aunts because they all ran the business with my grandmother. And 90% of the stuff that they did had to do with, again, with the yuca. They had the culantro, and then we have the ají, which is kind of like a Scotch bonnet pepper. Like when you go then into making the sofrito, which is the seasoning for everything that we cook here, those are the two main ingredients. It's the ají and the cilantro. But we also have like oregano. It's also OG from the Caribbean. Like first we start with breaking bread with cassave, which is our version of bread, and then the different cooking techniques, and then it all evolved into like el fogón, which is a different way of cooking things, but it's very primal. It's all fueled by fire. It's still that aroma still gets in the food, even though it's not touching the heat directly like barbacoa. So it all stems from those few little things that we had to work with, and then this influx of all this other stuff that came in with the
Right.
colonization. The Fogon, which is funny, like I have family members in the Campo in the Dominican Republic who still cook this way. Basically, it's like a little shed, and in this shed, they'll go do like a bunch of like a little fireplace with whatever wood you can get a hold of. And then on top of it, then you put your caldero, like your pot, where you're gonna cook whatever you're gonna be cooking. Different islands, some people even use sugar cane to cook with. Like some after the Africans came, then a lot of like cooking in plantain leaf like got implemented into it, which protects whatever you're cooking. So like it's very tricky to talk about Tainos without talking about mm, how everything evolved after. There's basically it all started with cooking directly, and then we bring some instruments into it, and then that way you're protecting your food a little bit more. Everybody just mix with each other,
Right. Exactly.
so it's very hard
Yeah.
to get that 100% Taino thing going on.
Right. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
there's a saying in Spanish that goes like, "Where's your grandma at?" And they say that about like white people, like white Caribbean people,
Hmm.
um, because they say there's always something in your body that goes back to Africa. Like there was a black person somewhere in your background, and you just don't know it.
Of course. Of course. There's no group of people on the planet that are pure anything. It's a ridiculous idea, right?
I don't know. You go to Ireland and they keep that shit pretty pure.
No,
Like,
even they, the
but here
Rome
in the Caribbean, that's especially not true because these three races just like
on
went at
on a small island.
yeah, there's no getting out of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. All right, Maria, thank you so much. I'll circle back with you before the end of my day today. Okay, bye.
Nice to meet you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.